Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Fahad Zafar. It's a privilege to join you today at this pivotal moment to discuss the challenges and opportunities facing Pakistan's economy in August 2024. Our nation stands at the crucial crossroads, confronting significant risks that threaten our financial stability and economic growth. Addressing these challenges is paramount to securing a prosperous future for Pakistan. Understanding the risks, debt deficit. As of June 2024, Pakistan's public debt has ballooned to over 50 trillion Pakistani rupee, consuming nearly 40% of the government revenues in servicing costs. Fiscal deficit remains stubbornly high at 8% of the GDP, exacerbated by persistent inefficiencies in revenue collection and unchecked government spending. Balance of payment crisis. The trade deficit has widened to over 25 billion US dollars, with imports overshadowing exports significantly. Foreign exchange reserves have dwindled to less than 6 billion US dollars, providing less than 2 months of import cover. Inflation and currency depreciation. Headline inflation has surged to 22% year on year, hitting essential commodities hardest and eroding purchasing power. Pakistani rupee PKR has depreciated to 280 against the US dollar, making imports more expensive and fueling further inflation. Energy crisis and high electricity bills. Energy shortages have resurfaced with load shedding of up to 6 hours in urban areas and even longer in rural regions. Household businesses alike Households and businesses alike are struggling with exorbitant electricity bills, with tariffs increasing by more than 25% over the past year. Unemployment rates have climbed to 8%, exacerbated by underperforming economy and stagnant job creation. Brain drain continues unabated. Nearly 800,000 skilled professionals have migrated in the past 12 months alone. Strategic actions to mitigate risks and foster stability. Fiscal reforms, tax reforms, expand the tax base. Don't just focus the salary class. Don't just focus on the salary class. Expand the base. Don't just focus on the people who are already paying you salary tax. Just expand the tax base. Focus on people who are not paying you the taxes. Increase tax compliance through digital tax collection systems and anti-evasion measures. This could generate an additional 1 trillion PKR annually. Expenditure rationalization. Prioritize essential spending in health, education, and infrastructure, while cutting non-critical expenditures to reduce deficit by, let's say, 2% of the GDP over next 2 years. Managing inflation and stabilizing the currency. State Bank of Pakistan, the regulator, must employ tight monetary policies to control inflation, maybe by raising interest rates and employing open market operations to mop up excess liquidity. Exchange rate management. Engage in currency swaps with China, Saudi Arabia, and others to bolster foreign exchange reserves and stabilize the Pak rupee. Energy sector reforms. Subsidy rationalization. Introduce targeted subsidies for low income households to ease the burden of high electricity bills, financed by reducing subsidies for wealthier segments. This is highly important. Prime Minister Mia Shahbaz Sharif must instruct his energy team led by the Minister Mr. Lagari and Secretary Energy Mr. Langreal to introduce targeted subsidies for low-income households to ease the burden of high electricity bills. Then, energy mix diversification. Invest in renewable energy projects and reduce reliance on imported fuels, imported coal, LNG, imported LNG, potentially lowering energy costs by 15% over next 5 years. Boosting employment. Skill development program. Launch initiatives to align vocational training with market needs, creating employability of, let's say, 1 million youths annually. Artificial intelligence is a buzzword. Maybe people like Mr. Minister Hassan Iqbal should take a lead in this. Maybe train people on artificial intelligence. Then SME support. Provide interest loans with grants to SMEs, which account for 80% of employment, to stimulate job creation. Preventing brain drain. Encourage both public sector and private sector companies to offer competitive compensation packages and career growth opportunities in line with international standards to retain the talent. To me, I know a lot of my friends, colleagues who were working in the local Pakistani banking sector, in consulting sector, have migrated, moved their families abroad. Some are in the process, some have migrated to countries like Australia, Canada in recent days. Even public sector organizations, even some important organizations, I don't want to name them, my people in my social circle working in public sector organization have also migrated, are in the process of migrating. Then diaspora engagement. Create schemes that encourage Pakistani diaspora to contribute expertise and investments back home. Privatization of key national assets. Implement a transparent, phased approach in privatizing entities like Pakistan Steel Mills, Haveli Bahadur Shah Power Plant, Baluki Power Plant, Bhikki Power Plant, and our very own Pakistan International Airlines (PIA). Financial viability: assess and restructure these assets to make them financially viable. For instance, divesting a 26% stake in PIA with management control to attract significant foreign direct investment and improve efficiency. Here I recall Pakistan Telecommunication Limited (PTCL), yeah, in Musharraf's era, Etisalat was given control of PTCL with 26% stake and management control. PTCL was here after such FDI was improved, and after giving the control to Etisalat, PTCL went from this to this. Market-based approach allow market dynamics to drive the privatization process, ensuring competitive bidding to maximize returns. Leveraging international partnerships, International Monetary Fund IMF, financial support, continue engagement with IMF for a bailout package, or what we call extended fund facility EFF. Policy framework: IMF can provide critical policy guidance and technical assistance in areas like fiscal consolidation, monetary policy, and structural reforms. For example, IMF support in modernizing the tax administration can enhance revenue efficiency. Then bilateral relations with our brothers, Saudi Arabia. Secure budgetary support and deferred payment facilities for oil imports. We know in 2023, Saudi Arabia extended a 3 billion deposit to help our foreign reserves. Investment in key sectors. Encourage Saudi investments. Our Prime Minister Mia Shahbaz Sharif is doing that. He's taking a lead. In recent days, he has traveled to Saudi Arabia with his team to attract investment. Then Saudi investors also flew into Islamabad to discuss about the opportunities. We are on the right track. This is the way forward. So, encouraging Saudi investment in sectors like energy, refining, tourism, etc. Joint ventures can help develop infrastructure, reduce energy costs, and generate employment. Then, China strategic partnership, accelerating China Pakistan Economic Corridor (CPEC) projects, fast track ongoing and key initiatives under CPEC. For instance, completion of Gwadar Port and associated infrastructure is expected to bring substantial economic benefits. Technology and industrial cooperation, foster collaboration in technology transfer and industrial development. Chinese expertise can help modernize Pakistan's manufacturing base, increasing competitiveness and export capacity. Then action plan to address these risks and steer economy towards stability and growth. We propose a comprehensive action plan. Let's divide them into three categories: immediate measures, medium-term policies, and long-term strategic initiatives. Immediate measures would be economic stimulus spread package. Implement a targeted stimulus package focused on supporting SMEs, boosting exports, protecting the most vulnerable segments of the society. Energy relief introduce immediate measures for electricity bills such as rebates or deferred payment plans for lowering income households. For lowering income households, the Prime Minister must instruct his minister, relevant minister, that's the Energy Minister, Mr. Lagari, and the Energy Secretary, Mr. Langreal, to introduce immediate relief measures like rebates or deferred payment plans for the lower income households. Then, medium term policies, fiscal discipline, establish a robust framework to enforce fiscal discipline, including legal mandates for budgetary targets and a transparent public finance management system. Develop a strategy to boost exports by incentivizing high potential sectors like textiles, IT, services, agriculture, aiming to reduce trade deficit by, let's say, 20% over the next 3 years. Then long term initiatives, human capital investment, invest significantly in education, health to build a skilled and healthy workforce. Programs like vocational training, continuous learning will prepare the youth for the emerging markets. Institutional strengthening, continue to reform and strengthen institutes to ensure good governance, reduce corruption, and enhance business confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, at this critical juncture in August 2024, the challenges before us are substantial. So are the opportunities. By taking decisive and strategic actions, we can not only avert the risk of default, economic default, but also pave the way for sustainable growth and prosperity. Collaboration with international partners such as IMF, our brothers Saudi Arabia, our brother China will be instrumental. Together we can draw on the expertise, financial support, and investment to build a resilient and dynamic economy. We must remain committed to fiscal reforms, boosting exports, managing inflation, creating jobs, modernizing our key national assets. These efforts, underpinned by good governance and inclusive approach, will lead us towards economic stability and growth. Let us work together, united in our resolve and dedicated to the vision of prosperous Pakistan. By implementing these strategies effectively, we can secure the future of our coming generations. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to end with my slogan Pakistan Zindabad.